the way the year started, it had its own agenda. And that's one thing also. When things are happening, you feel like they're happening to you. They're not happening to you, they're happening for you. So something happened. I'm no longer married, so I'm divorced, and I have to take care of the house and everything financially. I had a situation that came up that, from a mortgage situation where instead of taking, let's say $500, they ended up taking $1,500 more than that amount. Luckily, I had money in my bank account, and I'm like, okay, I'll take care of this, I'll see what happened, maybe it's a one-time thing. Well, it wasn't a one-time thing. Apparently, my escrow was like $10,000 in the negatives. So every month, they're gonna take $1,500. I don't have that kind of money. And then I'm like, okay, I kind of panicked, obviously, it's very normal, and that's okay to feel your emotions. And I'm like crying, and I'm in front of the mirror. I'm literally in front of the mirror crying and holding myself and telling myself, I'm okay, I'm safe. Because when these things happen, life happens, right? I mean, I can tell you that life is so beautiful because it really is, but then these things also happen. Is how do you react to it? How do you show up, right? I can read you this article and you're like, okay, it's beautiful, but really, what are you gonna do when that situation arises? Are you gonna remember the article, or are you gonna remember what I'm saying right now? Because I allowed my feelings. I cried. I'm telling you, like, I didn't look pretty. It was like in the mirror crying, and I'm like tapping. I know all these things, so I'm like, whatever I've learned, I can't show you what I was exactly doing, and it took me about maybe 5 minutes. It didn't take that long because, that day I meditated and I know nothing happens against me, it happened for me. Then I paused, so when I was done crying, then I went back to work. I do work, I have a technology, so I went back to work, life happens, and I'll sort it out. My belief system was so strong that I knew that this will be sorted out. And within 2 months, I've already resolved the problem. And it didn't just magically go away, but because of my energy and my belief in my Creator, my God, I knew the problem would be resolved. I had helpers within a week willing to pay for all of this that were blessings from God, right? They were willing to help me pay for this, and that's where I'm always in awe of it, because before, when I used to ask, I used to struggle asking because my mom never asked anyone for help. I was married for 10 years. I never asked him for help. And I think a lot of women do that. I worked full time. We split our bills. He never paid for any of my nails, my lashes, none of my clothes. He never paid. It's not that he didn't want to, it's because I didn't accept, or I didn't receive. I didn't allow him to take care of me. That's another role of a feminine, is to be taken care of. We are the true leaders. We, through our softness, direct the man, the masculine in our lives. So Mary was married to a very nice man. He wanted to take care of me. I just didn't allow it. And that's the other thing. So now I'm in my receive mode, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna allow, if anyone who wants to help me, right? That's okay. That is okay. And that's when you shift that energy, it will come to you without even asking. These two people who were willing to help me, and one of them that came through, every month this money is gonna come in my bank account. Not once did I ask. I actually was saying, I was just communicating, this is something that I'm going through. I don't know what happened. Do you have some advice for me, some recommendation, how I can talk to this company, sort it out? That's all I asked. Advice. I didn't ask for money. I'm not gonna say no, but so that's the thing. I think us women, have also been, haven't been taught how to, ask for something. The other thing I wanted to read from here, because I think it's very important. So I'm going to say, divine feminine maturity is when the woman no longer seeks validation through chaos or attention. This is very important because I think a lot of times, right, we're doing all these things, we're doing good in the business, we're doing good out for the world, or we're doing good for our kids or our husbands or our partners, our spouses, and we want them to, thank us, or we want them to appreciate us also. But that's also seeking something in return, some sort of validation, some sort of a gratitude from them, right? I always did. So this is another piece that I wanted to just call out, is when we are doing something for others, don't expect anything in return. That's another kind of an energy of divine feminine, is you have what you need. You're doing it just out of love. You're not doing it for anything else. You give yourself validation. You give yourself that love. So this is what this line was. So maturity is when the woman no longer seeks validation through chaos or attention. She no longer needs to prove her worth or convince others of her light. So if someone says, let's say 100 people like you, but one person doesn't like you, you don't need to, convince them to be like, oh, I'm worthy of this, right? Don't do that. She no longer needs to prove her worth or convince others of her light. She simply is the light. She's steady, she's radiant, and she's self-sourced. So that's how I show up. And I think this has worked for me. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, of course. We all tell each other, ourselves what to do. It's just be yourself. And I know Divya said that, let's be our authentic selves. There's no mask that we have to wear. We don't have to perform, even though that's what we learned. We don't have to live that way. And I can guarantee you, because this way of living never surprises me. Since that mortgage situation happened, I decided to actually pause my business, because I'm like, okay, feels a little chaotic, right? So much is going on, and I just want to pause. So I actually, decided to pause my business, and also, I had a content manager. I'm like, okay, I don't want to pay money towards that. I'm just going to pause, because I feel like the universe wants me to just hold off on this, because the return of investment here is not going in the direction that I wanted to go. So I made that decision because I just felt it. I used my intuition. I said, okay, everything is going down the hill with this. Why keep going at it? A lot of times, it's also our ego. I felt it was a little bit maybe of my ego, maybe, even though I want to do good in the world, it may not be the time, right? Who am I to decide that it's my time? So I decided to pause. And I told my creator, I told it that if you want me to do this, then show me the way. I'm not gonna go after it no more. I'm gonna relax at home, even though I work full time. I have a kid, so I'm just gonna relax. I'm not gonna, after work, I'm not gonna worry about creating content or creating workshops. I'm not gonna do any of this. I'm just gonna focus on my daughter, Michelle. I'm gonna focus on myself, and I'm gonna focus on Charles Schwab. That's where I go. That's it. 3 things. And then from nowhere, Divya messaged me. I don't even know Divya. And I told the universe that I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna focus on myself. Literally, a month later, not even, I get this message from someone that I don't even know, wanting me to come out here and speak